I'm Lucy Edwards, Director of Client Success at VHT Studios and now Metaport. And I'm here today with Lance Pendleton, and Lance is the founding partner of GoodSphere.
How are you?
Very good.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you indeed. And you specialize in psychology of human behavior, if you wish, and how to humanize, and I love that word, I'm using that word all the time now, how to humanize the relationship between the agent and the client and make it special, smooth, and pleasant.
Yes. I don't know what else you want me to say about that, but no, what we try and focus on, and what my life work has been, is trying to help people that are in the sales profession understand how they develop healthy relationships by rehumanizing their relationships with people and not focusing on sales technique, tactics, and things of that nature, but to bring out the essence of who they are as a way to actually build trust and to gain healthier relationships with people.
Let's talk about marketing, and let's talk about a proper way to have the conversation with the seller. Why the house or the property should be priced as you, agent, think that it should be priced, and what you are doing to justify and how you're going to bring the best buyer to the table.
Well, let's focus on pricing first, because pricing is important.
Pricing is important.
Pricing is very important. I teach an entire class on pricing in terms of the behavioral psychology around explaining pricing to people.
Okay.
And one of the key components in pricing is helping someone understand the impact that getting it wrong has. No one looks at the impact that when you actually overprice a house, the long-term effect that's going to have. And I won't go into the details of that, but the reality of it is an agent that's very good at pricing a home well. Many times people think, you know what, the house sold because it priced well, and that's why it sold. The reality of it is that that's actually not the only factor, right? Pricing a home well is extremely important, but it also has to run in parallel with other supportive functions and features that you're doing to align with that, to show why for that price you are getting something fantastic, right? And for me, that's like another level of why Matterport is different, because it's an incredible addendum to demonstrating the price point. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yes.
You have to be able to say, hey, you might feel that your home is worth $800,000. We really know that what the market says in the range that we're sort of in is probably around $750,000, right? But to $750,000 versus another home that's $750,000 of comparable to another home that's $750,000 that's comparable, right? If I have the ability to tour that home and go through it and explore it and look at it and see all the different benefits of the different things that are available in there, right? And I can have that level of experience for that, you're already putting that home a level above 3 other properties that have what?
Not that much.
30 seconds of swipe through of me going through.
Show, right.
Make sense? Things work together. There's a reason for that. Does that make sense? And I think
it makes perfect sense.
I think it's wrong
to have pricing, but it has to be supported by something else.
That's right.
Like the marketing strategy and understanding the market and understanding what's going on in that area right now.
Correct. And don't ask me about marketing strategy, because that's a whole separate topic for another day. So I have a very different philosophical belief on marketing strategy.
Right. Okay, so you see, there's an excuse to meet again.
That's right. That's right. I think that will probably be the most boring interview that we do. Is my answer there in marketing is very short, because on listing presentations I don't usually go. I try to point out that a lot of the things that we talk about in marketing a property is a lot of talk.
And I agree with you. And some things are so basic, we shouldn't even call it a strategy, like professional photography. You have to have, I mean, you shouldn't even be proud of it, because it's a must. Well, it's like brushing your teeth in the morning.
I know, and this is highly unpopular, and I'm sure if you have an area for comments below when this airs, I'm already terrified of the comments below. If I go on a listing presentation and someone says to me, you're competing against 3 other people, and they've shown me their marketing plan, right? The first question I always ask somebody is this: or you as a seller, you're moving somewhere else, right? And you usually say yes. Okay, well, where are you looking to find what you want to move to? What's the most common answer that someone is looking? Where are they looking to find where they want to move to?
Probably Florida lately.
Okay, not geographically, but like what tool are they using to look?
Okay. Well, I didn't get the question probably right.
So if you're going to go buy a house, right?
Yeah. Oh, where are you looking?
Where are you looking?
At Zillow or
okay.
Realtor.com.
Guess what? You ready?
Yeah.
My marketing's done. My marketing is done because where's everybody finding property? Unless you're talking about ultra net worth, high limited potential top 1% level property. The reality of it is over 85% of all properties are originally discovered where?
Like on Zillow, Realtor.com.
So where's my, come on, stop. Like all this thing of I've got all these things in the Beijing Times and all the different stuff that we're going to be doing and all that stuff. Guess what? At my brokerage, I have the exact same things as every other brokerage. We're all kind of pretty much the same. That's what drives that insecurity, believe it or not, right? And that process right then, we talk about marketing. Sure, there's certain things that you can do, but your network, who you know, people like that, that's different. But the reality of it is the things that you're doing to market the property, it's people are on Zillow and Trulia and Realtor and all that other stuff. And that's where they find properties. And they dial you up and they say, I want to go see that house, right? So all the more reason, not to keep shilling Matterport, and I get paid nothing for this. I'm just literally telling you, like, all the more reason, if that's the place and those are the places where the largest volume of properties are found, why not give a leveraged advantage to that in that field? It just, marketing, I think, is one of those things that is easily misconstrued as a value proposition when the reality of it is who you are, who you know, what you do, how you connect to people is the value proposition. But we struggle to articulate that to people.
Well, and we touch base on the future agent in a way. You mentioned that there are so many agents. I forgot the number. It's 2-point-something million agents in the United States alone. So with the new agent and what's going to happen in the near future, how do you see the development of the agent? Who will lose? Will it be more part-time? Will it be more full-time agents? What's about the education?
That's a very big question. As far as agent education, I'll leave that secondarily, but I think that what's the future? I think the future of real estate is going to be probably built more around a hybrid function. I think that you're going to look at teams identifying closer to being their own sort of mini brokerages in a lot of different ways. I think that what is going to be most effective is what the consumer needs, and that is whatever brokerage can provide to the consumer. The biggest opportunity that they can then leverage back to the agent to help benefit the agent is going to be a huge differentiator. And I think as a newer agent, if you're coming into the business and you're just getting started in the business, one of the key things would be to continue to remember that it's not about, that external output of it. It's important in the beginning, yes, but it's really more about having the space and the place to identify what are the things that you know about people so that you can continue to stay engaged with them in particular ways, and especially around the things that they care about, right? For me to be able to say, and we talk about agent events. I love agent events because this is my favorite thing of all, because guess what? Here we go. You ready? A shredding event, a wine and cheese event, a pie giveaway. It's all the same stuff, right? And the problem with that is that
But I like events.
I know, but you enjoy events, but you also work with agents. So you're kind of not the target audience they're going for in that one, right?
It's networking, it's talking, it's meeting someone
Sure.
you haven't seen for a while. It's giving a hug to someone you really enjoy spending time with.
Totally. Let me tell you what my version of events look like. You ready? We'll put the word event for a second. Tell me something that you enjoy doing in your life. What do you like doing? What's fun for you?
Outside of work?
Yeah.
I love scuba diving.
Scuba diving, fantastic. What would it look like if you were to identify, hey, I'm going to go do a scuba diving lesson, right? Would you go do your own scuba diving lesson? Would that be fun for you?
No, because I'm not such a good scuba diver to give somebody a lesson.
No, not give them a lesson. That's what I'm saying. But would you go take a lesson to learn more about scuba diving?
Absolutely.
Cool. Fun for you?
Fun.
That'd be great?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Could you invite 5, 6, 7 other people that you really care about to come have fun with you and do that too?
I would love that.
Fantastic. Guess what that is?
Networking in a way, no?
That's an event.
Having fun? Yeah,
That's
it's
an event.
Yeah.
And then if you took that scuba diving event that you did and you took a bunch of pictures and you posted those things on social media and people learned something about you, would that not help them feel a better connection to who you are and what you love and what you enjoy as a person?
And even if they don't like scuba diving, they would still.
They'd learn something about you, right?
My husband just ran with bulls, and I posted, and you cannot even imagine. I have like over 1,000 views and compliments, or
that's right.
Just surprised messages. Why would he do that?
That's right, because do you know why? Do you know why, Lucy? This is my favorite part. Do you know why? Because you're a human being doing human things that people connect to, yes? And yet if you had posted, hey, want to know more about Matterport? Let me know. Happy to tell you what kind of engagement and interaction would they have had with that. This is the problem. This is the shooting match that we're going for. And that's why when you talk about what is an event, what are the things that we do to market ourselves, everything is behind the veil of I'm not good enough as is. I'm not good enough as is. And that's the problem when you talked about the second part when it comes to education. The biggest problem with real estate education is that it's a literal living, breathing reminder to people that you are not good enough as is, that you need to be doing more, that there's more things, you should make more phone calls, you should follow these scripts, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, you need to be pumping out CMAs to everybody. By the way, Mother's Day is coming up. Did you get your flyer ready to send to everybody to remind them of Happy Mother's Day? It is so disconnected. What you're telling people consistently in a lot of the things is that, you know what agents want is they want community, they want a little bit of accountability, and they want to feel, guess what, ready? Heard, appreciated, loved, and understood, especially amongst each other, because it is an unbelievably lonely business, right? And that lonely business part drives that level of insecurity. So like, for example, for GoodSphere, what we focus on is how do we help people find the essence of who they are? How do you take that and share that with others to then build and grow? Because the reality of it is most agents annually, over 80% of all of the business they do every year come from the people that they already know or people that those people know, right? And yet what are we trying to do all the time? How do I reach everybody? How do I actually go an inch deep and a mile wide with all these different people? And we go to these different trainings and seminars and coaching programs and things like that. And for what? To be told, here's 30 things that you need to do when you get home. And agents take pictures of the screen of the show and the presentation. I'm going to do that. And guess what?
I will never do that again.
Yeah, but then what? And what do we do with it?
Because you just delete it the day after.
That's right. And nothing happens with it.
Nothing happens.
Why? Because we have lives. Because life happens. Because guess what? I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and there's a good chance that I'm going to find a shoe in my freezer because one of my kids did, I don't even know what, right? So it's like, what? It's just disconnected from the reality of it is. Yet if you went scuba diving, it was fun for you. You invited some past clients, some friends and other people to come do that type of thing with you and learn something together. And then if you took that experience and shared it with another set of people that might find that interesting, who weren't aware that scuba diving lessons were available in that place, you know, this is the human connection, and it's what we're lacking in this process. And that's why when it comes to education, particularly around that, I think coaching is great. Don't get me wrong. It's good for certain people. At GoodSphere, for every 4 people that join us and take our programs and become part of our membership, there's at least 2 that we tell we're not right for you. And it's not because we're trying to push people away or be elitist at all. It's because you need to be in a space and a place in your life to be slightly open a little bit to the idea that maybe I am okay as is, right? And for a lot of people, no, they want to know what's that script, what's that make 200 calls, I need that part to drive myself forward, and that's fine, that's great. We're just offering a different way of thinking about it and a different way of actually engaging with it to do it so that you're not feeling as overwhelmed and frenetic all the time.
And you feel valuable and you love yourself and you respect yourself and you wake up in the morning happy. I think that's very important.
I mean, when was the last time somebody in real estate really enjoyed what they were doing? Closing, yes, we feel good about a closing happen, and then 60 seconds later, what? Right back into how do I make that happen again, and how do I up that, and how do I do better than last year, and what's my business plan? Like business planning. Think about it. 95% of real estate agents don't have a business plan that they work on or from during the course of the year.
Or even put it together to begin with.
Right. Many of them do put it together to begin with, but we don't work on it and from it during the course of the year. Why? Because what's a business plan? It's a whole bunch of outcomes that we'd like to see happen with no real rhyme or reason based on what goes on month to month, because it's an incredibly difficult business.
Very well said, Lance. Well, what would you wish our audience, just in one sentence, your wish to the new agents and to top agents and to everyone who's involved in the real estate market today?
I think it would really be to understand that you are okay as is. You don't need to keep trying to think that all of a sudden by doing more, it's going to achieve, some type of greater good of everything. And that a lot of the confidence that we lack sometimes in some of the things come from that place of fear. And that insecurity and that fear drives a lot of activity that doesn't really allow people to connect to who we are and drive the business growth. Because business growth comes from people feeling good about how you engage with them and what you do.
Let's talk about Matterport. As you know, VHT Studios and Matterport had merged together, and we are embracing the technology, but we would like to have it more humanized. Actually, it's your word, to humanize or rehumanize the technology and the marketing tool that can help the final user. And a lot of agents are not comfortable with doing that. They feel very insecure. They get on top of the ceiling and they cannot get down. They don't know how to jump from floor to floor, glide and slide from room to room. And as a result, they're trying to stay away from the technology. And we need to break that wall and make sure they understand the privilege of having that marketing tool.
Sure, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. A problem can't be solved unless we understand the root cause of where it comes from. And what I heard you just say is there's a tremendous amount of fear for an agent when it comes to the use or the engagement of the tool itself, right? Mm-hmm. Which is completely understandable. Agents mostly don't use programs or technology when it comes to dealing with their clients or presenting it to their clients because of the fear that if I don't understand this, someone's going to ask me a question about it and I'm going to look foolish. That's why they don't want to talk about it, use it, or engage with it. And that's an understandable and very real fear. And I respect that tremendously. I think that what is important in this, though, is to understand more, if that's the root, how do we help an agent overcome that basic fear? And one of the ways to overcome the basic fear is to ask yourself as an agent, am I not using something because of how it affects me? Or am I not using something because how it affects the client or the potential viewer? Mm-hmm. And the reality of it is that if I'm thinking only about myself, that's not my job. My job, right, is to be a guide, a mentor, a Sherpa, a person that helps someone navigate what is a very difficult transactional process. That is what my best interest is for my client. And in addition to that too, am I limiting or restricting thousands of people from having a fundamentally different experience when viewing a property, right? Because why? I'm afraid. That's not a real great reason to be able to say, hey, I'm going to cut off and limit what could be a tremendous value proposition to my clients and to other viewers in a really unique way. So I'll ask you this question, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know an agent that if you said to the agent, hey, by the way, I'm going to offer you an opportunity to have someone engage with your property online for on average 15 to 20 minutes per view?
Absolutely.
Would they say no?
Of course they should say yes, because the regular slideshow is about 30 seconds on average, maybe 45. The interactive floor plan is maximum 7 minutes. So you are talking about tripling the result. And right. I think that should be a great advantage for the agent.
And so for the average agent to be able to say, hey, look, would you love to go to any client and in your listing presentation say, by the way, I can average 15 to 20 minutes online view of your property for each engagement that someone goes in there. Versus if you were then going against another agent in a listing presentation and they said, hey, can you average 15 to 20 minutes per person online on my property? What's the other agent you're competing against going to say? Huh? What? Nobody could do that.
Right.
That's not how people work. Well, yeah, it is. That's the reality of it. So here's the thing. The fear is understandable. Can we put the fear aside for a moment to really think about it? Then is there a value proposition that I can offer to somebody that differentiates me and how I help people? My job is to help people. That's at the root cause. That's the core of what I do, right?
Exactly.
So can I create that? And one more thing that I think is even more important, if I look at what Matterport does for a property and how someone can interact and engage with it, we're forgetting, because I think that people think that if I do a Matterport, that's the only way that someone's going to engage with it. But that's not true, right? There's still photography, correct?
Absolutely.
There's still maybe a floor plan there, correct?
Yeah, and Matterport produces one.
Right. So it's not like by saying I have this, all of a sudden someone that may not be comfortable with technology will never be able to experience this property online. Yeah? And especially when you think about the world of marketing, you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit in the past, that when you think about it, pricing a home correctly is the most important thing. So if I take an $800,000 house, right, and I say, hey, you know what, I'm going to price this, it should be around 800. That's what the correct market is, not 900, because the client wanted 900 for it. But we agreed to 800 to live in reality. And I've got 7 other comps on the market currently that have that same price point. What does that then do as a difference for me between separating out now my property where someone is spending 15 to 20 minutes engaging and interacting and exploring, and I am literally highlighting features and benefits live time in that property as they explore that property, compared to 6 other homes now that are having 30-second
Yeah,
swipe
here
and
is
go.
the slideshow. And in addition, Matterport has different tags. You can put a tag, oh, look at this backsplash, or look at this marble countertop. And that adds time for a potential buyer to spend on that tour.
Yeah.
Because they start reading, then they see another tag, and then they jump there. So yes, absolutely, I totally agree with you. We just need to educate our agents more
Yeah.
and believe in themselves that they can learn.
Yeah.
If I learn, they can learn. They can learn and they can understand and actually embrace and love that product that
But
helps them get listing and sell listing.
Can I challenge that idea for 1 second though?
Sure.
Why do they need to learn?
Well, they need to feel comfortable doing the presentation. Let's say they have a buyer and they're sitting in a conference room, or worse yet, they have a Zoom call and they are sharing the screen, and now they're introducing Matterport. They need to know how to use it.
I'm going to hold you for 1 second.
Okay.
Now we're driving the fear. As soon as I say you need to learn something in order to be able to speak about it, I'm building fear into something. I actually don't really need to do that. I can simply say to somebody in a listing presentation, I can average 15 to 20 minutes on your property online with a special tool that I use. And I can move on to something else. One, I don't know that the client wants that. I don't yet. Two, in that conversation point, I can then share a link as an example with them and let them play with it and let them experience that.
Well,
right?
what if they're worse than you are and they have lots of questions?
Well, does Matterport have any way to answer some of those questions and support an agent?
Yes, yeah, there's plenty, absolutely. Yeah,
So
plenty tips and
I defer that person to the experts in the technology. You see, again, I don't have to live in this place of fear. This idea that by me mentioning something, all of a sudden it's going to make me look bad. That you don't have to live like that. That's not a process anymore. You can leverage certain pieces of technology that are rehumanizing how someone engages in a property. Yeah. Think about that. I don't need to physically be present, but I'm actually creating a human touch using a piece of technology to allow someone to experience a home. That's very different than what exists currently.
Simple yet wonderful. Thank you. Thank
Great
you,
to
Lance.
see you.
GoodSphere it is. So please reach out to Lance and I'll have his information right at the end of our interview. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lance.
Great to see you.